Hey guys, it's me, Video Person 1 and 2. Today I'm reading chapters 13 through the end of La La Land. Before we begin, I need to tell you guys something. So I don't know how many of you guys watch this guy, but his name is Foot of a Ferret. He does a series called A Brief History. Well, this time he did a video on himself and how he was a sensitive child. In the video, he brings up how when you're a child, and you're like the certain age, you start developing mortality and anxiety, and he uses the standard in his video. Well, I comment down below about how he should do a brief history of it. 106 likes. 106 likes. Tell me how my freaking comment got more likes than my YouTube videos will ever get. Explain, internet. Please. Please. Explain. But the replies are pretty nice. I saw it too. I'm freaking out. Let's freak out together. Lol, you should check out my channel. I make a lot of Sandershine videos. Me promoting. I saw it too! And I'm freaking out and dying. I relate on a spiritual level. OMG, yes! Video Person 102, yes, OMG, yes! This is the most likes I've ever gotten, lol. YES, we need this! You hear them, Fofi? We want Sandersides. And I just sent a whole bunch of heart emojis to this one girl who did the things. So, gotta go back to the regular reading. But, I really wanted to point that out. I love the comments. And, how much you want to bet that Fofi's gonna post a video of Sandersides next? He better. If he's not, I'm going to attack him. I'm going to attack him, and no one's gonna stop me. That's the most likes I've ever gotten. He is not making... he is not... We're not going to let him not make a Sandersides episode. There, I can English. Okay. Snort. Chapter... God. I can't English. Hello. And my earbud's falling out. Isn't that nice? Chapter 13. It took him too long to dredge up the courage to admit to leave his room. Virgil had left him riddled with poison veins. He abandoned him to the coldness and fear, and done nothing but dangled a lifeline in front of the prince, only to wrap it around the royal's neck, and now he was choking on it, dying with each breath. I'm going to go and talk to them, Rome muttered to himself, pacing. I have to apologize and explain. What will they do? Get mad at me? Doubt it. He froze. There it was. It couldn't be that easy. Yet, there it was. If he wanted to, he could make the words appear in front of him. He could see them hovering just in front of his eyes because they were there, made of lifeline and hope and a painful desperation. It all fit together now. It was clear to him what he was doing wrong. He was doubting the wrong things, looking from the wrong angles. He let Dallin overpower his thoughts, and now Roman had it all figured out. Will they accept your apology? Dallin hissed. Roman wanted to laugh. And what? Turn me away? Doubt it. The crackling static in his ear faltered just a little bit, and Roman felt weight lift from his shoulders. Of course. He didn't need to doubt himself. He didn't need to doubt the others. He just needed to doubt Dallin. What are you doing? Dallin asked, and Roman could hear an edge to his doubt's voice. Roman, you aren't strong enough for this yet. Of course I am, Roman sneered. Aren't you strong enough to stop me? There was nothing but victory in Roman's heart as Dallin whispered to himself. Am I? Dallin, Roman said. I win. Do you? Dallin said, but Roman just smirked at him until doubt sighed in defeat. I wish you the best, Roman. I don't need anything more from you, Thuriel told him firmly, but still he lingered. I bid you farewell, old friend. Della managed a cheeky smile. Maybe the stars will allow us another meet. Maybe, Roman muttered as Dallin started to fade away, the humming in his ear crackling in the silence. Maybe not. Burn! Oh, snaps! All of the snaps. But they're still black on his walls. Crap. They're still black on his walls. Dang it. Still black in his heart. Oh, that's even worse than his walls. He wasn't fine yet. Wasn't good enough. He needed to do more. He needed to stop and breathe. He closed his eyes, sucked in a breath, and soothed his frantic thoughts. The smell of sickly sugar was gone from the air. Without it cloying his every breath, Roman thought he could taste the creativity, the freedom in the world around him. It all seemed far too easy, Roman thought. You couldn't question it. To question it would be to invite doubt. No, he needed his confidence. He needed his pride. He needed to help his host. Oh, dear Odin, Thomas. He needed to check on his host. Or should he talk to his fellow sides first? How could he choose between them? He'd been locked away for so long. Had missed too much. He didn't know who was in what condition. It was terrible. Start with Virgil, he whispered, taking another exaggerated breath. You are Prince Roman. You shouldn't be flustered by such things. Talk to your fellow sides and decide where to go from there. It sounded reasonable enough. If only he could summon the will to walk through his door and confront those he had hurt. He stepped forward, caught sight of himself in a mirror, and stopped abruptly. He looked terrible. His hair was messy and greasy and dull, matted and curled. His clothes were rumpled and hardly appropriate for one such as himself. He had to change. Immediately. Surprisingly, when he snapped his fingers, his clothes tugged and morphed until he was standing in his suit once more. His hair rapidly smoothed and followed into place. His makeup was minimal and simplistic. Not his first choice, but it would do. He checked himself over a final time and deemed himself ready to venture back into his world of wonders. He sighed, cracked open the door. He couldn't do this. He straightened his shoulders and took a step. He had to. Sniffles. Chapter 14. Turns out, he could talk to his fellow sides because they were all gathered in the studio. Their conversation cut as he walked in the room, and he fought to keep his head held high as their eyes watched him. Patton gasped quietly as Roman held his hand out and made a rose that glowed softly. His hopeful eyes met Roman's, and the royal just said, Dallin's gone. Patton let out a squeak before rushing forward and engulfing Roman in a tight hug. The royal didn't hesitate to hug back, relishing in the affection and positive attention. I'm so proud of you, Patton whispered in my ear. And I forgive you for everything. Aww. Roman wanted to tell him that he shouldn't forgive him. The Patton should protect himself, but he kept his mouth shut and nodded instead. Thank you, he murmured. Frozer gave his counterpart a small smile. So, are you back to Disney songs and Broadway references? Sure am, Virch. And there was so much more Roman wanted to say, so much more he had to apologize for, but the words shriveled up in his throat, and he could only force out silence. For a moment. It was quiet. Then Logan stepped forward. Roman, I believe we all need to talk. We need to discuss Dallin's presence and how much pressure you've been under lately. Then we could talk about Thomas. Thomas comes first, Roman said stubbornly. Virgil sighed slightly. princely, but putting yourself first, you're putting Thomas first. Just worry about yourself for once. Indeed, Logan added. Thomas needs you 100% better so that there may grow himself. If your doubt, Dallin, has affected you too much, we need to find out now and try to fix it before it can affect Thomas more. And goodness, there was, blunt as ever. There was no fancy words, no clouds of smoke. He had endangered Thomas and his ego during this, even if he hadn't meant to. Confidence was a fragile thing, glass easily shattered by small rocks. Roman let out a deep breath and tried to inconspicuously despair the shaking in his hands. Of course, he said. If it will benefit Thomas, we will have our conversation. Roman, how did you defeat Dallin? Patton asked, and the royal tensed slightly. Last time it took you longer, and it was a lot more grueling. A fair question, Roman supposed, but one that hurt all the same. Suffering through his appearance was grueling, he told them, but his defeat, I figured it all out. I used his own effect against him. Explain, Logan said, genuinely interested. Perhaps the endeavor could benefit the others in future. I didn't need to doubt myself. I just needed to doubt him, Roman said sloggily. Messed with the rose in his hands. Oh. As soon as he was gone, it was easier to breathe, to clear my head. I centered myself, came to find you. Virgil took a few deep breaths before clearing his throat. Why did you come back? And here, Roman froze. A tricky question. Hard to answer. Hard to endure. Why had Dallin come back? What he had summoned him again. After all this time, deep down, Roman already knew his answer, but it was harsh and exhortatory. You. I don't know, he lied, shrugging slightly. Perhaps the pressure after the mind blank, the blame I had for myself. I was embarrassed, caught off guard. Perhaps he came from moments of weakness. Or, Virgil said quietly, you're just really insecure, and it was the last push before you broke. Holy heck, Virgil! You smart cookie. How screwed, Roman thought. How clever of him. Me, he said incredulously, pressing a hand over his heart. Insecure? Please, I'm a prince. What do I have to be insecure about? Why did I say it like a mix between my Remus and Deceit voice? Heckety heck! 5 abs in 1 peck. And instead of words, Virgil just gave him a look that finally broke through Roman's most inner walls. He deflated, dropping his mask, his cover. He let them all see him, and as he was, without the makeup and the sings. Does that make sense? In the front he always had, even when he was upset. I am always tired nowadays, he admitted softly, looking down at his flower. I cannot find it in myself to live in reality when I could barely handle the weight of dreams and love. Penn made a small noise, something akin to a whisper, and reached for his fellow's side, stopping just before he made contact. Oh, Roman, he whispered. Why didn't you tell us? Roman could only offer him a shattered truth. I didn't know how. This chapter is just all kinds of interesting. Last chapter, oh yeah, looking for somebody tonight. Oh yeah. Take my hand, I'll show you the wild side. Like it's the last night of our lives. We'll keep dancing till we die. I don't know what that was. Hello, I'm random. Somehow it seemed easier to be in front of the camera. He couldn't feel the weight of performing on his shoulders, nor could he feel himself drowning under the pressure of pretending. He could be himself. He would be himself, because that's what Thomas needed. That's what Roman needed. Thomas hadn't hesitated when the four of them appeared suddenly and asked to talk. Roman had been the one to suggest making a video. Virgil had eyed him, but said nothing. So, he said, clapping his hands lightly. What is it? Roman cleared his throat. I have to apologize and explain, he said, holding his head high. He expected fear to set in his stomach alight, but instead of butterflies, he felt steady. He could do this. There are multiple layers to any person. You know that. Virgil explored his hidden side when you tried the anxiety pills. Roman didn't mention the way Thomas flinched. His emotions made a personal side for him. Virgil, do you wish to explain this yourself? Huh, Virgil snickered. Wish? That's funny. But, he continued, sobering up. Roman is correct. My feelings manifested as my own personal depression. Thomas gasped. His name was Derek, Roman added, and the smile Virgil sent him was bright enough to set off fireworks in the real's chest. He was my friend, Virgil admitted. He encouraged me. He was the support system, I guess. We understood each other. I defeated him, though, after you guys came to my room. I got better. He's the one who gave me the purple hoodie. Oh, Virgil, Thomas said slowly. I had no idea. Neither did we, Roman said, glancing at Patton. For once, the father figure looked troubled and tense. Logan figured it out. I overreacted. It got complicated in your head for a little while. Virgil shuffled awkward. You got complicated in your head a little bit, complicated in your head like normal people. You got complicated in your head. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, it's over now. But that's not what we are here to talk about. Roman? The real sighed, looking down at his hands. What would Thomas think? Would he be mad? Could Roman ever admit that he'd been so weak? Stop, he said harshly. Stop. You've got this. Have confidence. Shut up, phone. I'm sorry. I'm sure you know the effect each of us have on you, he began, and Thomas nodded, looking slightly dazed. Well, we also have effects on each other, as our rooms demonstrate. Patton often lifts the mood, though sometimes he increases sadder feelings. Logan is usually calm in most situations, and is first to notice smaller details. Virgil, well, we know that so far, and increase the drama. Roman? The royal laughed nervously, cutting Virgil off. Kidding. What? He cleared his throat. What I'm trying to say, Thomas, is that in the beginning, it was just me and you. Best buds, smearing paint everywhere we could. I was your creativity, and your ego, and your confidence. I had full control. When Patton was introduced, you had just grasped the concept of right and wrong. You were still a young princeling, though. So Patton and I existed side by side. Neither of us have ever worried about the other. When Logan showed up, it got tricky. I wasn't used to sharing, wasn't used to being limited. It was a small struggle, but Patton liked him well enough, so we found a rhythm after a little while. Thomas let out a long breath. And then Virgil. Roman agreed. He wasn't a bad thing, Thomas. But we are opposites. He crippled me in ways I hadn't expected. I couldn't deal. Every move I made was questioned. Your confidence was shattered. Your ego gone. I lost control, almost completely. I had scrambled to find some way to add my input, to hold on to the reins. This is the first time I've met Dallin. Dallin? Rowan squeezed his hands together, focusing on the tightening of his skin, then the worried and confused eyes of his host. Dallin is my own personal doubt. Capital D. He amplified the chaos that Virgil brought with him, and let's just say it took me a little while for me to bounce back. But I did. His voice quieted a little. I did. It was silent for a moment. Roman desperately trying to keep his thoughts in order. His heart was beating faster each second. Nobody said anything, and he gripped his hands tighter and tighter until it started to hurt. Roman? Did he come back? Thomas asked gently. Roman bit his lip, nodded once. Recently, after the mind blink, it was why I was so weird. He's gone now, but yeah, he came back. I'm proud of you. It was the last thing he expected his host to say, and Roman looked up sharply, his hands falling away from each other. His eyes were wide, his pulse raced as he stared at Thomas. He stared and stared because nobody had ever said they were proud of him before. Thomas grinned softly, a glimmer in his eyes that Roman couldn't quite identify. You defeated your doubt twice, Thomas said. I'm proud of you. Roman wasn't getting teary. He wasn't. He couldn't ruin his makeup. You know, those creative bitches in their makeup. Okay, just gonna walk over here now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just gonna. Thank you, he managed. I am so sorry. And Roman's heart melted, shattered, healed, and glowed all at once as Thomas, Logan, Pettit, and Virgil all told him, You have nothing to be sorry for. Stuff from the author. Let's sing the stuff from the author song. And I'm gonna skim over the next few chapters because it's about the next book and the song she wrote for this, I guess. So this is the next book we'll be reading, Logan's book, which is called New Rules. It's a really cool book. I have read it before. I actually read all of these books before. Okay, I'm gonna unplug my headphones and actually this with you guys. I'm gonna watch this video with you guys, y'all. Yeah, y'all. Y'all. I don't know why I'm saying y'all.
Doubting yourself again. You're trying to imagine that we cannot see it.
Oh, yeah.
False bravado, friendly smile.
Get it, girl?
We haven't seen the real you in a while. Oh, oh.
I need the sheet music for this. I actually play ukulele in case you guys didn't know that. No touching the child.
Down. A broken crown is placed upon your head. Say fine, as if you think we don't know that's a lie. Locked away, locked away. Oh, we're losing you. Fade to grey, fade to grey. Oh, you're lost in la la land. In your hand, passion rolls. A voice in your head that goes, you're not good enough. Gotta be this on your own. Convince us you've outgrown this self-doubt.
Whoa!
Locked away,
Whoa!
locked
Yeah!
away. Oh, we're losing you. Fade to grey, fade to grey. Oh, you're lost in la la land. Locked away, locked away. Oh, we're losing you. Fade to grey. Oh, you're lost in la la land. Oh, 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 locked away. We're losing you. Fade to grey. Oh, you're lost in la la land.
Nice.
Locked away. Oh, we're losing you. Fade to grey. Lost in la la land. Oh, you're lost in la la land. Oh, you're lost in la la land.
Woo! Yeah, encore. That wasn't quite audio. Don't, put... Oh, she wrote down the lyrics! Yes! I'm just gonna, die inside aggressively. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. That song got me. But seriously, amazing song. I love Bekka911. She the cools. She is the best. She is the cools. She is the everything I ever need in life, and it's amazing. So, thank you for watching. Also, thank you for 106 likes on a comment that doesn't even, correlate with my channel at all. So, thank you guys for 106 likes. That was amazing. And like always, do your best.